Hello, good morning.
Great morning.
My name is Nicole Brunet. I am the Policy Director of the Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia. And I stand here representing a coalition of over 30 organizations across the Commonwealth calling for the legalization of parking protected bike lanes. The Bicycle Coalition, Bike Pittsburgh, and Families for Safe Streets have been calling on the legislature to legalize parking protected bike lanes and give municipalities the control to make state roads safe for all users when they want to for the past 7 years. This legislation is simple, it's impactful, and the only thing standing in its way is political will. The current vehicle code states that a car has to park within 12 inches of the curb. That code has nothing to do with bike infrastructure. This legislation would allow municipalities to redefine the edge of the road and build safe, affordable, and high-quality bike infrastructure. The City of Philadelphia released a progress report of their parking protected bike lane pilot program, citing an average increase in bike ridership of almost 100%, decreases in overall crashes, and 0 traffic fatalities. Like many municipalities across the Commonwealth, Philadelphia has a lot of state roads that run right through neighborhoods, where people walk and ride bikes to get to their daily lives. These roads are some of the most dangerous, and many are on our high injury network, which is 12% of roads with 80% of serious and fatal crashes. Since 2020, almost 70% of all bicyclist fatalities have been on state roads, and none of which have been on roads with parking protected bike lanes. In Allegheny County, 64% of fatal bicycle crashes have occurred on state-owned roads. I want to invite up Laura Fredericks. Her daughter, Emily Fredericks, is the name of this bill.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Fredericks, and my husband Rich is here with me as well. Our daughter Emily was the sunshine of our lives. She was kind and funny, and she was not afraid to love or be loved. Our family has endured what no family should, the death of a child, no matter what age that child is. Emily was 24 when she was killed by the driver of a private sanitation truck while cycling in Philadelphia in 2017. She was cycling to work as a French pastry chef. The driver was not held accountable in any way for killing her. HB 1283, the Parking Protected Bike Lane Bill, has languished long enough here in Harrisburg, allowing the engineers who design our roadways for safety for all vulnerable road users like cyclists and pedestrians to be able to integrate parking protected bike lanes is crucial. Saving lives does not have a political party. This bill has been around in some form since 2017, and that was the year that Emily was killed. Rich and I cannot wrap our heads around the fact that we are still advocating for the common sense safety legislation that would save lives. The Senate Transportation Committee and the state of Pennsylvania need to prioritize lives, all lives, not just those riding in cars, but those who travel by other means. Emily was killed tragically, traumatically, and her death was preventable. Even one life saved by parking protected bike lanes should be enough to pass this legislation. I want to thank all those who have been champions for this bill, and most especially Representative Mary Jo Daley, who introduced this bill in the House. We are excited to work with Senator Bartolotta on her SB 1147. Our oldest son, Michael, was married this past Saturday in New Jersey. The conflicting emotions of total happiness for he and his bride, and the reality that Emily was not there to share in our family's very special day. There was an empty seat next to my younger son, reserved for his sister. There was a memorial table for Emily at the venue. All the women in the bridal party and the bride wore a dragonfly in their hair in memoriam to Emily. That's the logo of Emily's foundation. This is our reality. Please help us prevent these traffic deaths that affect so many families. Now let's get HB 1283 done in the Senate in memory of Emily and of Susan Hicks, who was killed in Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm State Senator Tim Carney. I represent much of Delco here in the Senate, and I sit on the Senate Transportation Committee. I'm energized to stand with this powerful coalition, but I'm sad at the same time. Common sense safety measures like parking protected bike lanes, I think, are a no-brainer. We need to figure out how to stop putting emphasis only on getting people from point A to point B quickly in cars and understand the way people actually live in our cities and towns and rural areas as well. Vision Zero is such an important cause and one that's gaining momentum across Pennsylvania. For too long, we've accepted dangerous traffic conditions in our communities and prioritized fast car travel over safety. In my time as a public official, I put a lot of energy into trying to change that equation. When I was the mayor of Swarthmore, I facilitated a contentious roundabout project, which ended up incredibly successful. I would say 99% of the people are happy with the results. And if you look at PennDOT's data, you'll see that serious crashes are down 51% where roundabouts replace intersections. Parking protected bike lanes fit the same mold. A change to our streets that may cause a stir at first, but which undoubtedly save lives and which make our communities more livable. Parking protected bike lanes are a no-brainer, and anyone who's been nervous driving behind a cyclist or biking in car traffic can understand why they make so much common sense. What are we waiting for? We have bills in both the House and the Senate that could make it to the governor's desk this week, and there's no excuse for inaction. So I call on our legislative leaders to stop holding this bill politically hostage and just pass the damn thing. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nikhil Saval. It's my honor to represent the people and communities of Pennsylvania's 1st Senatorial District, which runs through the heart of Philadelphia. Thank you to the Bicycle Coalition for bringing us here today and for continuing to advocate for all of us to be able to move through the world safely and joyfully. I want to thank my colleagues from the Senate who are here, of course, Senator Carney, Senator Lindsey Williams. I see Senator Anthony Williams' office is here. And several House colleagues, Representative Harris, Representative Daley, Representative Parker, Representative Khan. I think that's everyone. And thank you to every person who has made time to travel here today to your capital to let your representatives know that traffic violence is unacceptable and the time has come for change. All of us, wherever we live and however we're moving through the world, deserve to be able to participate fully in our communities. And this means being able to get to work, to school, to healthcare appointments, to stores and shops, and to our loved ones, and return back home safely, day after day. When our cities and streets are designed in a way that denies any one of us this right, it's a failure of policy. When traffic deaths continue to happen because of legislative inaction, it's a failure of people. Elected representatives have a duty to shepherd the rules and regulations that help build a society in which the collective safety and well-being of all its members are honored. We are here today because the evidence clearly shows that infrastructure in which cyclists have separated, protected space for travel is a crucial part of righting these wrongs and rectifying these failures. We're here today because we need to pass House Bill 1283. Municipalities need to be able to make the infrastructure changes that allow their residents to move through them safely and free from harm. House Bill 1283 will help make this possible. Parking separated bike lanes are a simple, cost-effective way to keep cyclists safe. When cyclists have separated lanes, this makes our streets safer for all users, saving the lives of bicyclists, pedestrians, and drivers alike. Last December, in its progress report studying data after the implementation of a pilot program with parking protected bike lanes, Philadelphia found that on these roads, severe and fatal crashes have decreased, average speeds for drivers were safer, and bicycle ridership increased significantly. The only impact on traffic was to make the roads safer. The time has come to make parking separated bike lanes the norm and not the exception. On behalf of my constituents, my staff, and my family, and all who bike through our streets, I cannot wait to vote yes on these bills. Let's get it done. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm going to do something different. I'm asking my colleague, Rep. Harris and Rep. Khan, to stand beside me. The reason why I asked for both of them to stand beside me, Rep. Harris and Rep. Khan, is because we represent the Northwest section. My name is State Representative Risha Parker of the 198th District, which is parts of East and West Oak Lane, Alley, Nicetown, Logan, and Germantown. And the reason why I'm here with my colleagues is because our districts touch some of these state roads. And today, I'm absolutely upset and damn near tired that we got to keep talking about the same thing. The reason why I'm talking about it in a way that's very emotional and passionate, because I can recall not too long ago when a family member called me on a dreary day that they lost their child due to something as deadly as what we're talking about. And the mere fact that we have to keep saying it in a way, death should make anybody from any house wake up. We should not, as legislators, continuously keep talking about death when these kids and these families and these loved ones are torn apart for something that's called legislation. So we do not know what's going on. We do not know what the holdup is, but it's time for our colleagues to wake the hell up. Death should not make them do something. Prevention should make them do it today. So I'm happy that I'm here with my colleagues, but also sad that their loved ones will not return home. So what we're asking our colleagues to do something, get the sleet out of your eye, clean your glasses off, sign this bill today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Senator Lindsey Williams, and I represent the 38th District in Allegheny County. Last week was National Week Without Driving, a week where everyone is encouraged to use alternative means of transit like public transit, walking, or biking. And I think that allows all of us to see what it's like for those 30% who don't own a car and can't drive, and also the people who just want to ride their bike or work to work because of the pure passion and joy that it brings them to ride their bike to work. And I say that because we had 2 hearings in the Senate Transportation Committee over the last 2 session weeks on, quote, multimodal transportation needs across the Commonwealth. However, during those multimodal hearings, we talked very little about actual multimodal communication and infrastructure. complete streets. That's not a word that was used during those hearings. Ways to make our communities accessible, safer, and more inclusive by including updated curb cuts, sidewalks, traffic signals, and just how these complete streets are a way to ensure that all people are safe and to get where they need to go. And one way is one very important way, as we've heard from the very passionate speakers today, is parking protected bike lanes. Because devastatingly, like my colleagues, I've had constituents who were killed while walking or biking on unsafe and poorly designed roads in my district. Police chiefs have talked to me about wanting to apply for grant dollars to fix unsafe intersections. They know, our first responders know what those intersections are and those spaces are because they respond to incidents there, unfortunately, all of the time. And they know that there's not a lot of money to fix those things. Our communities can't afford to not invest in keeping our walkers and our bikers safe. It's simple. Parking protected bike lanes save lives. I'm proud to stand with Families for Safe Streets and Bike Pittsburgh, who have been calling for this legislation since 2017. I call on the Senate and my colleagues to pass a clean House Bill 1283 so that local governments can take the steps needed to protect our constituents. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Ross Willard. I'm a bicyclist, and I ride in central PA. But even more so, I represent a lot of bicyclists from our shop, Recycle Bicycle, because we gave away our 10,000th registered bike just last week. We are out there. Unfortunately, right beside my shop, State Street going east was one of the most deadly roads in America a couple years ago. Something like 4 walkers, 1 biker died there. And one of the tools to correct that would be a parking protected bike lane. Use the cars, not cement barriers, to protect the most vulnerable users, not just the bikers, but the walkers, because it would shrink the roadway or they have to play Frogger. So we, the bicyclists and walkers of Central PA, implore you, pass this legislation. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm State Representative Tara Khan. I represent East Falls, Manayunk, Roxborough, Chestnut Hill. Just want to acknowledge my colleague, Elizabeth Feeler, Representative Elizabeth Feeler from South Philadelphia, who just joined us. So, wanted to say a couple things. First one is, we recently, the sports community is mourning the loss of Johnny Gaudreau, NHL player who was killed by an automobile with his brother while biking, waiting for his sister's wedding in Philadelphia the next day. Recently, also, we lost one of the great pediatricians, oncologists, Barbara Ann Freitas, a physician at the Children's Hospital Philadelphia, because a car came into a bike lane that was not protected. And I'm very honored to be joined today by a member of my community, Sid Ozer, who him and his wife, Mindy, tragically lost their son, Sam, who was a graduate of AIM Middle School in my district, and he died in my district while he was biking because we do not have parking protected lanes. I'm very, very grateful to an activist who's here, Suzanne Hagner, who's a nurse who volunteers in my office, that has been a champion, along with Sid and others in our community, in the Bicycle Coalition, and Nicole from Bicycle Coalition, on this issue to make sure that we stop death by automobile for bicyclists and pedestrians. While we're seeing record drops in violent crime, one thing continues to go up, and that's death by automobile for bicyclists and pedestrians. It's absolutely unacceptable. I'm very grateful to Chair Mary Jo Daley, who wrote this bill, who introduced it, and I was very grateful to co-sponsor it and then vote on it in the House. This bill is now in the Senate. and we're waiting for it to be passed. And it's sitting in the Senate with other things like our transit funding. And what I would like to say is to the Senate, please just do your job. It's what me and my colleagues in the House are doing, and it is critical to the economic viability of our Commonwealth and the safety of our Commonwealth that we get these bills across. Fund our mass transit, but also, importantly, fund safety. Make our Commonwealth safer. Pass this House Bill 1283 to get parking protected bike lanes all across the Commonwealth. Thank you.
Well, first, thank you to everyone who took the time and stood here calling for safety, for common sense legislation. I am so proud to have so many, my legislators and other Philadelphia legislators here, but as well legislators that represent other places in the state that would benefit from this legislation. As you heard, it's been 7 years too long to pass this common sense legislation, and with days left of this session, we are asking the House and the Senate to come together and get this done. Thank you.